You may remember a recent video on how the Nintendo Switch port of Megadimension Neptunia V2 was leaked. Back then there was no announcement of that happening, it was just randomly listed on the South Korean rating board site. Since that video, the game came out in Japan, and we even have confirmation that it will in fact come out for Western markets this summer. No exact date has been mentioned yet. Official information is sparse, but we do have some information. Firstly, it's going to be a digital-only release. That's not surprising because the Japanese release is digital-only as well, but it doesn't make it the first console version or port of a NEP game that didn't see a physical release at all. The price hasn't been announced either, but the JDM eShop lists a price of 4,800 yen, which translates roughly to $40 to $45 US, or just over 60 Canadian. So perhaps we'll see a $39.99 or $49.99 US price tag, but honestly, for a game that came out 4 or 5 years ago, that seems a bit steep. Then again, it's a Switch port, and for some reason those are always expensive. The DLC will not be packaged together with the game. You have to buy everything, which is kinda crummy considering how other games do it. All the Disgaea Switch ports have been pretty good about including all the DLC for free, for example. Something I'm sure a lot of people will be questioning is V2's performance and graphics on the Nintendo Switch. Since it's already out in Japan, all we need to do is take a look at what's been uploaded on YouTube. Now, I don't want to just take someone else's footage, so I'll just show some screenshots and really quick clips so you can see the performance. Links to the gameplay videos are in the description below and as cards on the top right, so check them out and give them the views they deserve. In terms of performance, it's quite unfortunate. Frame rate for the most part is below 30 frames per second, which I don't find acceptable. I mean, you gotta hit at least a consistent 30. Occasionally, when the blurry fade effect happens, for example, you can see the frame rate increase all the way to what looks like 60 FPS, so that's cool, I guess. I know that V2 is graphically more advanced than the Rebirth games, but they got those working right on the Vita. V2 on the Switch should run better. In terms of graphics quality, the game seems to be running at 1080p in docked mode, but I don't know what it is like handheld. The game retains a lot of its fancier than Rebirth shading and things like that, but there are noticeable differences. You'll notice more aliasing or pixely edges. As I'm sure a lot of you know, using the word flat as a description is actually a compliment, but that's not the case with video game graphics. V2 on the Switch doesn't look like it has any, well, not any, but it doesn't have a lot of depth, especially when it comes to the characters. There's just a sort of shadow which makes the image look muddy. Now, I don't know how things would look on a map with brighter lighting, but it's obvious that shading and lighting look different on the Switch. Personally, I think the performance needs to be a priority, so why not cut the resolution down slightly? Surely that would have unleashed the last 10 or so frames per second we needed. Thankfully, the menus look normal and work okay, but that would have been quite the blunder if they couldn't get that running right. Some of you may know that V2 actually has a remake called V2R. I already mentioned in the last video that I hope that a Switch port of the original game means that they'll can the new and terrible battle system of V2R. But something I also realized is that both games, while sharing the same story, have different voice actors for Noir. The question is, will they just use Aaron Fitzgerald's lines because that's what, V2 used, or will they use Erica Mendez's performance from V2R? I guess we won't know till the game comes out. By the way, I do know that a lot of people prefer Aaron Fitzgerald for her performance as Noir, with her legendary Noir scream in the anime and all that, and, she's quite good at portraying her sassy attitude. But I do think Erica Mendez is a good voice actor. I guess it's weird hearing a different voice after all these years, but there have been several performances in other games which I think she did a very good job on, so if it is her performance that we'll get in V2 on the Switch, I think it's something we should give a chance. But that's all the info I have about the game. Let me know if you've got any, especially if you've played the Japanese version of V2 on the Switch. I know some of you watching play Japanese games, or the Japanese versions of them. Remember to check out things like my Patreon if you want to help out the channel. Here's a list of some people who do just that. Links are all in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.